Call to order the September 3rd, 2020 meeting of the Little Rock Board of Agenda. Mr. Herndon, will you call the roll, please?
Yes. Roll call. Frank Allison.
Here.
James Bertram.
Here.
Austin Grinder.
Here.
Joe Justice. Joe Justice. Catherine Lashley.
Here.
Do we have a quorum? Do I hear a motion concerning the minutes from the July 30 meeting?
I move approval of the minutes from the July 30, 2020 meeting of the Board of Adjustment.
Second.
Hear a motion and a second. Would you call the roll again, please?
Allison.
Aye.
Bertram.
Aye.
Grinder.
Aye.
Justice. Lashley.
Aye.
Here four in favor, the motion passes. Would you read the consent agenda, please?
Item 1 of the consent agenda. Well, actually, Mr. Chair, do we want to ask if items will be pulled from consent or announce that they'll be pulled from consent one way or the other?
Yes, so items 1 and 2, they're being pulled.
That's my understanding. I just wanted to confirm with the chair.
I believe that's correct.
Consent agenda consists of one item that is consent deferral, formerly item number 3 on this agenda. The item is Z9454-A, 5205 Kavanaugh Boulevard. At applicant request, staff recommends deferral of this item to the October 15, 2020 Board of Adjustment meeting.
Do I hear a motion?
I move the board accept the consent agenda with all staff recommendations.
That's adequate. And now
Second.
you need a motion and a second and a vote.
Here a second. Call
Second.
the roll, please.
Allison.
Aye.
Bertram.
Aye.
Grinder.
Aye.
Justice.
Aye.
Noted. Joe Justice voted aye. Lashley.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item 3 will be deferred until the next meeting.
Item number 1, formerly on consent, now on the regular agenda, is item Z-9531, 2013 South Commerce Street. And the staff analysis is as follows. The R4 zone property located at 2013 South Commerce Street allows single-family and two-family duplex uses. The subject site is vacant with an existing driveway remaining from a former residential structure raised in approximately 2010. The property is a non-conforming lot at 65 foot wide by 50 foot deep, with records reflecting its establishment sometime prior to the year 1913. Deficient in area by contemporary development standards, the 3,250 square foot subject tract is nevertheless regarded as a legal lot of record. The .35 acre property immediately south of the subject site is zoned C3 and is owned by the City of Little Rock, containing the East Little Rock Neighborhood Resource Center building. Surrounding properties to the north, east, and west are also zoned R4 and contain single-family structures. 4 of the 5 neighboring homes lie upon non-conforming lots generally similar to the subject lot and size. All existing buildings in the 2000 block of South Commerce feature reduced front yard setbacks ranging in depth from approximately 10 to 15 feet. The applicant proposes to construct a one-story, 1,500 square foot single-family home with an attached one-car garage and driveway. To accomplish this, the applicant requests a reduction in the front and rear yards from 25 feet each, which would leave no buildable area on the 50-foot deep lot, to 10 feet each, which would allow construction of a 300-foot deep home, a 30-foot deep home. Section 36256, paragraph D, sub 1 states, there shall be a front yard having a depth of not less than 25 feet. Section 36256, paragraph D, sub 3 states, there shall be a rear yard having a depth of not less than 25 feet. Section 36155 states, in order to be granted a variance, the property owner must show to the Board of Adjustment the subject property is so restricted that the buildable area is not sufficient for reasonable construction. The July 20th, 2020 applicant letter states, without the grant of a variance, the parcel is rendered nearly undevelopable. Staff agrees with this statement. Strict application of the code will render the subject lot undevelopable as a residential site. Based on the analysis above, staff believes the subject proposal is in keeping with the character and scale of the neighborhood and views the variance request as reasonable. As of this writing, no inquiries have been received by Planning and Development Office. I might add that we did receive one inquiry yesterday, and that person is now patched into this meeting. Staff recommendation is for approval of the requested front and rear setbacks per the submitted plan dated April 28th, 2020.
Okay. Is Mr. or Mrs. Simmons, is that who wishes to speak?
Is Ms. Simmons available?
This is Mrs. Simmons.
Okay.
Go
Good
ahead.
evening. I have one of the properties that is in that neighborhood. I wanted to hear what the plans were and see the plans. I am not speaking out against the plans. I do not know who, I couldn't hear the first part of it. I'm not sure if the city owned the property that it is adjacent to. So I'm not sure about that, but I am not speaking against it.
Okay. Do you have any other comments?
I do not. Thank you.
Thank you for your participation. Does anyone else care to speak on this issue? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I move approval of item Z9531, subject to all staff recommendations and conditions.
Second.
Your motion and a second. Ms. Herndon, will you read the call roll?
Roll call. Frank Allison,
Aye.
James Bertram,
Aye.
Austin Grinder,
Aye.
Joe Justice,
Aye.
Catherine Lashley.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Moving on to item 2. Item 2 is file number Z-9528, and that is 5001 Country Club Boulevard. Staff analysis as follows. The R2 zoned property located at 5001 Country Club Boulevard consists of 2 former lots and abandoned right-of-way, comprising one 130 feet wide by 140 feet deep property. It is occupied by a predominantly 2-story single-family residence served by a 13-foot wide driveway which widens to access an existing 3-car east-facing attached garage near the rear of the property. The general area slopes markedly from the west to east and from north to south, and numerous retaining walls exist throughout the heights environs. The 5001 Country Club Boulevard property contains retaining walls of varying heights on its west, south, and east sides. At roughly 6 feet, the south wall or rear wall is the tallest. At grade with the subject site, the top of this existing stone wall stands 6 feet above the residential property to the south, and a 6-foot wood fence is installed atop. Proposed improvements include upgrade and replacement of the aforementioned 6-foot retaining wall and fence, although these are not applicable to this variance request. Construction of a covered porch, installation of an uncovered hard surface patio area, which is considered, installation of an uncovered hard surface patio area and a pool, which is an accessory structure that is 340 square feet extending into the rear yard, and a 2-story pool house, which is a 665 square foot rear yard encroachment. The applicant proposes to construct a 20-foot by 37.5 foot pool and hot tub, which is an accessory structure in the backyard area. The 750 square foot facility, 340 square feet of which is proposed to lie within the required rear yard and meets applicable zoning codes and occupies 10.46% of the required yard. A maximum of 30% is allowable. Section 36-254, paragraph D sub 3 of the city zoning ordinance requires a minimum rear setback of 25 feet for the recently constructed, Section 36-254, paragraph D sub 3 of the city's zoning ordinance requires a minimum rear setback of 25 feet. The applicant requests a variance to allow 665 square foot 2-story building addition to be 7.5 feet from the rear property line. If approved, this proposed addition will occupy 20.46% of the rear yard. A 6-foot high wall with a 6-foot high fence will separate the subject expansion from the property immediately to the south, which in 2003 received a variance for its own rear yard encroachment. 2 other neighboring properties, that's 510 and 512 Stonewall Road, within roughly 50 feet of the subject property, have structures of comparable size in their required rear yards. In addition to currently proposed construction, in addition to currently proposed construction, a 2012 home construction created a 1.34 foot average encroachment to the west side yard, unknown to the applicant until a recent survey revealed it. Section 36254, paragraph D sub 2, requires a minimum side yard setback of 8 feet for the 2012 construction. The applicant requests a variance to allow the existing 1-story portion to remain 6.56 feet from the west property line at its closest point. An existing 1 to 2 foot high retaining wall separates this portion of the subject residence from the adjacent property line and residence to the west. Based on the above analysis, staff believes the subject proposal is in keeping with the character and scale of the neighborhood and views the variance request as reasonable. As of that writing, no inquiries had been received by the Planning and Development Office, but since the time of that writing, the Planning and Development Office received queries from the property owner immediately to the west, the immediate property owner to the east, and 1 property owner to the south, and another property owner lying to the south, as I understand it, is present at this meeting. Staff recommends approval of the requested rear and side yard setbacks per the submitted site plan dated July 2nd, 2020, with the following conditions. 1, install trees in accordance with the Heights Landscape Design Overlay District, and 2, repair or replace the retaining wall and fence along the south property line at the time of the subject home renovation and related improvements. That concludes staff presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Herndon. Is Ed Anthony, would you like to speak?
Yes, I just registered.
Sir, would you state your name and your...
Edwin Anthony.
and your
I'm
address?
at 5010 Stonewall Road, directly south of the property under consideration.
Thank you.
And I had just received this a minute ago from the property owner and their architect, so that's why I was in opposition when I walked in, and I've since been able to review this and don't have any real major issues with it, other than probably in the interest of goodwill. I don't know why the other property owners are not here, because their lots are significantly lower than mine, and the two-story building might be obtrusive to them, but I guess that's their issue that they're going to have to deal with if they're going to find out about it later. I just wanted to, I guess I should have brought it to their attention before today, but I don't know them that well, so I just got this, 10 minutes ago, so I'm not in opposition now that I've seen the design, so I hope I haven't wasted your time.
No.
Okay.
Glad for you to participate.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Yes, ma'am.
My name's Holly Beth Willis. I'm the homeowner at 5001 Country Club Boulevard, and I appreciate y'all having us here today. I just want you to know we did go around to the neighbors behind us who would be in direct contact with the two-story structure, and they are agreeable and cooperative and had no objection. So we're trying to be considerate neighbors. I'm sorry that you didn't get the reports before, but I'm happy to bring one to your house. Okay. Yes, sir. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that'd like to speak? Do I hear a motion?
Yeah, I move approval of item Z9528, subject to all staff recommendations and conditions.
Second.
Here a second. Would you read the...
Roll call vote. Frank Allison.
Aye.
James Bertram.
Aye.
Austin Grinder.
Aye.
Joe Justice.
Aye.
Catherine Lashley.
Aye.
Hearing no opposition, the motion passes. The variance is approved. Do we have any other business?
That concludes our regular agenda, and there is no further business to present.
Then we are adjourned. Thank you all for coming.